hundreds of thousands of dollars that victims have been losing. We have victims that have lost over $1 million.
In Montgomery County?
In Montgomery County.
Montgomery County 911, what's the address of the emergency?
Welcome to another episode of Voices of Service. Today we are going to be speaking with Detective Sean Petty, who is currently investigating and exposing fraudsters, bringing them to justice. With his expertise and insider knowledge, we will gain valuable insight into the methods, motivations, and intricate webs woven by these deceitful individuals.
Sean, I'm just getting to know you because
yes.
you're very much a distinguised gentleman on our
thank you.
department.
I appreciate that.
I got to tell you, I love that jacket.
Thank you.
Like when I was a detective, I wish I don't ever remember seeing a color like that. That's fantastic.
Good. I'm glad.
But how long have you been on the department?
I have been on over 13 years. I'm going in my 14th year soon. So yeah.
Outstanding. 14. Yep. I'm not going to ask what year you were born because that's going to make me feel very, very bad.
That's good.
So 14 years.
Yep.
Now, where'd you start in patrol?
So I started in Bethesda.
Okay.
I worked day work, evenings, and midnights in that order.
Okay.
And then I ended up going to DCAT in Bethesda.
DCAT is
the District Community Action Team.
She yells at me all the time about us
using. We can't have any of the.
Acronyms.
We have to.
Oh, really?
Spell it out
yes.
so that our viewers understand what we're talking about.
Yeah. Gotcha. The
District Community Action Team.
District Community Action Team. I was there for a few years, and then ended up going to the 5th District Community Action Team.
Okay.
And then after there, I ended up in 3D, the 3rd District Investigative Section.
Yeah.
3DB.
Isn't it hard?
It is. That's all we. That's all I use is acronyms.
We're so used to jargon.
Everything is acronyms. So
everything's letters, acronyms are. But anyway.
The 3rd District Investigative Section.
So I work there too.
Yep. I do know that.
Detective Detective Woolsey.
He is still there.
Wayne's still there?
Wayne is still there. Yeah. He's in the drop.
Okay.
Yeah. And then after being in 3DIS, 3rd District, I was got the fortunate opportunity to end up in financial crimes.
Okay.
Where I've been for the past just about a year.
Wow. That's a lot of great assignments.
Yeah, and even while I was in 3D, I was working fraud cases here and there as we would come in, and I've done a few temps, so financial crimes was where I was planning on going. I set my eyes on it, and I'm here.
So, you know, it's interesting. I'm glad you touched on that because when we talk about our department, it's big enough. It has a big enough size, and there's enough things going on that as you're coming up as an officer, you can take an interest in something.
You can.
And really show or shine at what you're doing. You chose fraud, and now. Just a few years later, you're at the top of your game as far as doing investigations.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know, it really is an opportunity that everybody has. If you find something that you're interested in, go for it. You know, try to do a temp. Try to reach out to somebody that's in that division. Try to get them to be a mentor. I know I definitely had one in financial crimes, and he has still been helpful through today. Even while I'm there, I still go to him for questions. So. Financial crimes is not for everybody. Everybody's not interested in numbers and spreadsheets and bank documents and all that other stuff, but that is what I found to be interesting. I gravitated towards it, and here we are today.
Well, fantastic. So when I originally spoke to you about coming on this podcast, which thank you very much for coming on, I had wanted to talk to you about the skimmers.
Yes.
And I find it fascinating.
Sure.
However, you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yep.
But during our conversation, you said that there's actually something that you are dealing with on a more regular basis right now that you think is affecting the community that you wanted to educate our viewers on.
Yes.
So we can talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
And then let's talk about what I know you want to educate.
Yes.
Our
So
community.
this is a point of sale skimmer. This one has actually got the CVS logo on it, but you can find them at any convenience store where you're going to make a transaction, where you're going to pay for an item that you're purchasing at the store. And it looks legitimate. It looks just like a normal point of sale terminal. Unless you actually knew what to look for and actually what it was, you may insert your card and go on about your business and not notice anything or have anything until you get your bank statement or your credit card statement and notice that
It
I've
does not
got
match
a
up.
bunch of transactions on my account that I did not complete.
So
and
is that an actual skimmer?
this is an actual skimmer. It's not an active case, so no
Right.
defense attorneys worry. It's an old case. This is an actual skimmer that was located on a POS terminal at a CVS here in the county.
Right. So it looks like, I know some people are listening. It looks like a giant phone case
It does.
for one of the terminals where we swipe our card or where we hit the tap on.
Absolutely. Yep.
It is so fascinating, and I cannot wait to go into details.
Sure.
And I promise we're going to bring you all of the details because I want to talk about this and I want to tell.
Cool gadget.
It's
Your
incredible.
promise is more exciting. Okay.
I promise. Okay, so will you share with our communities and the chief
Yes.
about what it is that you want to talk about, because we have a big thing happening right now.
We do, and a lot of our individuals are losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of our citizens are coming into contact with this scam, and the big thing is we want to try to get ahead of it before it gets even bigger. It's what we've dubbed the gold bar scam. It literally starts out with a phone call or a pop-up message on your computer screen.
Okay.
And
What about those text messages that you get on your
or
phone?
text message that you get on your phone, you click the link in it that says, you know, you got this package delivered or it's something wrong with your delivery, and it pretends to be from, you know, a delivery service, and it takes you to this website and it tells you to call this number. At the end of the day, you end up on the phone with a scammer, but they don't say that they're a scammer, obviously. They say that they are an agent of the federal government. So they'll pick any business or company, you know, they'll say they're from the FTC, or they may say they're from the FBI or another federal entity. And they'll tell people, you are a victim of identity theft or fraud, and we need to help you out. And the way we're going to help you out is we're going to have you, you know, take a look at your bank accounts, and we're going to have you take that money out of that bank account because it's been compromised. And we need you to put it into another bank account. And from that other bank account, we're going to have you buy gold bars. We're going to have you go to a website online. You're going to purchase gold bars, and we're going to send a courier to your house or to a location near you to meet you. And you're going to place that box of gold bars into the car. That FBI agent, that federal agent, is then going to take those gold bars to the United States Department of Treasury and put them into a vault. And at the end of the investigation, we will have all of the gold bars from all of your accounts, you know, all of your money's in these gold bars now, and we'll give you the gold bars back. But we need to protect your money while we conduct this investigation. Now, the investigation sometimes involves money laundering. It might involve child pornography. It might involve
this supposed investigation.
the supposed investigation.
Right, okay.
Not real at all, completely fake, completely made up. They'll pick any serious crime to make you believe, oh my goodness, I'm really a victim and my identity's been used to engage in these crimes.
And these victims believe that they are being helped by this person.
They absolutely believe they are being helped by an individual who is identifying themselves as a federal agent.
Okay. I mean, now, as a cop, I'm sitting here listening and I'm like, come on, man.
Yep.
Are they specifically, are they specifically targeting certain groups of people?
Yes.
Or do you see certain groups of people, like they're I was going to say, you just mentioned the UPS thing.
Yep.
I get those UPS things all the time.
I do
I
too.
know they're garbage.
Yep.
I ignore them.
Yep.
Are they specifically targeting groups, or are they just kind of using like a shotgun approach and whoever responds?
So, you know, they are targeting individuals who are elderly.
Okay.
That is who we've seen the greatest impact in, but we have had a couple of victims who are not elderly. I know one was in communication, or she thought she was in communication with the famous actor, you know, news writer, you know, a reporter, not reporter, but movie director Tyler Perry. She thought she was in contact with Tyler Perry. I contacted his offices. Absolutely not him.
Right.
Guaranteed it wasn't him.
Right.
But she thought he was. And that was a younger victim. But for our elderly victims, we are seeing them fall prey to this because they genuinely believe that they're communicating with an agent of the federal government.
And by targeting them, they're going after life savings.
They are absolutely going after life savings. When I say life savings, we are talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars that victims have been losing. We have victims that have lost over $1 million.
In Montgomery County?
In Montgomery County.
And that's just Montgomery County? Like, this is happening all over the country?
That is just Montgomery County. So our office has been in contact with detectives from literally all over the country. Tennessee, Montana, New York, New Jersey, Florida,
It's going
Texas.
on everywhere.
This particular gold scam is going on everywhere. There are variations to it. You know, they may identify themselves as not from the FTC, but maybe from the Secret Service or, you know, from another federal agency. But the crux of the scam is we need you to take your assets, purchase gold, hand them over to us to protect it. At the end of this investigation, you'll get it back. Some are promised a new Social Security number because yours has been compromised by these fraudsters, these scammers. They've taken your identity, used your Social Security number. So we're going to give you a new one at the end of the investigation. Or we're going to put you in witness protection program because these are bad guys, these are serious crimes, these are violent crimes. We need to protect you because your identity has been compromised. But at the end of the day, there is no new Social Security number. There is no witness protection. You can potentially get a new Social Security number, but in rare circumstances. And witness protection is a real thing, but not in this scam. It is not going to happen.
How long has this been around? Because as you're talking about this, I'm thinking all the things I've seen in the media.
Yep.
So I've seen, who's that old actor? He was on 24. Tells you to buy gold. And then there's that guy. And then I've been reading articles about all of these investors are buying gold from Costco.
Yep.
Is this growing up around that, or has it been a while? Has it been around a while longer?
So I don't know if it's been around,
Okay.
but to the extent that it has exploded over the past, I'd say 6 to 9 months. Specifically in Montgomery County, we are seeing an increase in them. I don't think that we had seen these cases, you know, prior to 9 months ago. You know, once in a while we would see somebody, and it used to be more so gift cards. They would get the phone call that your grandkid is in jail overseas.
I remember
we need
that,
you
yeah.
to go buy gift cards to bail them out, to pay for the attorney, to pay the judge off, to get your kid or grandkid out of jail.
Right.
So, you know, it is a similar idea. You're taking your assets into some type of commodity that the suspects can then easily use, and then you're out the money. But now it's been gold, and you know, with the prevalence of access to purchasing gold bars, it is very lucrative.
And the gold bar. See, you said I didn't know what we were going to talk. I knew what we were.
No, I didn't.
I heard about the detective's case. I do pay attention. All of this is just the gold bar part of it, because I'm a little bit older than you.
Yes.
And I remember movies where they have the gold bar from Fort Knox and the cartoons of the big. These gold bars are like you were showing us before we started talking. Basically the size of a phone. Or half a phone?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so what you see on TV, yeah, you can get a gold bar that big, but these suspects aren't asking for that.
Right.
They're asking for 1 kilo, you to purchase 1 kilo, and they're going to have you buy 5. So you're going to end up with 5 kilos of gold.
Which is approximately how much money?
So you can get 5 kilos of gold for right around $380,000 to $400,000.
And the bars are just
the bars,
the
they
size
can,
of your phone.
you can fit a half a kilo bar in the palm of your hand. Probably a 1 kilo bar would be the size of your entire hand. They do have some weight to them, but you can hold 1 kilo in one hand. It is not that heavy. It's not that big. worth a lot in one hand, but
Right.
Yeah.
But then it's gone, which makes
but
it
then
so
it's
devastating.
gone. It's gone, and it's easy to transport across state lines. It's easy to transport out of the country, and you know, if you can go certain places where jewelry stores will buy gold, and once it's melted, there's really no way that we can trace that.
Right.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I keep interrupting. This is fascinating. Go ahead. You're next.
Is this not fascinating?
It is. Well,
It's
it is fascinating.
It's great for our community to learn about because we want to make sure that nobody else.
Well,
falls
and
victim
you
to
know,
this.
it's straight because we've talked about this. So we've talked with your unit before.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And we talked about pig butchering. We talked.
Correct.
I mean, there's so many. This is billion-dollar industries. All of this stuff.
It is.
For criminals.
It is.
And they're getting better and better. And
They are.
it's shocking. And now you're going to have AI come on board, right?
I'm not looking forward to the increase in it, but yes,
Yeah.
it is. But you know, at the end of the day, we have the ability to still catch these guys, and we have just recently been successful in a gold bar scam case. We literally just made an arrest recently in a case. It was a lot of work. Our office put quite a few hours into it. And you know, the victim was potentially going to be out in excess of $375,000 worth of gold. Luckily, that victim's not. She's not out of that money. We were able to intercept everything and prevent her from any more losses. Because, like I said, you know, the victims in Montgomery County, they've been losing a lot of money from this particular scam. There are tons of scams out there, but this one has been a high dollar value loss that we've seen over the past few months, and it's something that we want to try to get ahead of and try to prevent more cases.
What are some of those red flags that we can look for to make sure that we
Yeah.
do not fall victim?
Yeah. So specifically for elderly individuals, if you get a call and the person on the other end says, you're the victim of identity theft and we need you to transfer your assets into gold, immediately hang up the phone. We do not ever call people and tell them to transfer your assets into gold. We will never. We don't say transfer them to gold, silver, gift cards. We do not ever tell you to put your money, take it out of the bank and put it into a box. We will never do that. The government, we will never. And so if you ever get a call and that's how it starts out, you're a victim, we need you to transfer your assets, just hang the phone up. It is not real. We're not going to do it.
I think one of the things, so we're talking about this on a podcast, right?
Yep.
And we're reaching out through all these sources of media,
Yeah.
right? We're going to put stuff on YouTube. We're going to put stuff
Sure.
on Twitter and all that. I think one of the things, to me, as I keep hearing the presentations, as I keep hearing these stories, I'm almost thinking that our listeners need to go talk to their parents, because I don't know if all those folks that are getting targeted are listening to this podcast.
Correct.
I almost think this is a Sunday family discussion with
It is.
Yeah.
with these parents.
It is. And that is also something that we would like viewers to do. Check on your grandparents, check on your parents.
Yeah.
Just make sure that they are not getting these phone calls, and if they are, that you're telling them, hey, I think you need to think this through. That is probably a scam. Let me look into this a little bit more for you. Don't be afraid to ask the question. What are you doing with your money? Is your money secure? If you have an elderly parent or grandparent, don't be afraid to say, I think we need to add ourselves as an authorized user to your account to maybe safeguard you from these types of scams, because they are out there.
Yeah.
Now, those do, present some other potential family issues.
Sure.
But, is it better to have the conversation of, are you being scammed on the front end to prevent somebody from losing 1.2, 1.3 million?
Yeah.
Or do you want to have that conversation after the money's already gone?
So when we spoke, you mentioned something that I absolutely loved, because I feel as though maybe somebody listening might think I might actually be being scammed right now.
Yes.
And you said, go to a friend, go to a loved one, and tell them as though it's a story, right?
Yep.
You don't have to say, I am in this position,
Correct.
but just say, hey, a friend of mine, this is what's happening to
Yeah.
them. What do you think about that?
Yeah. So part of the scam is, they are instructed, the victims are instructed, you cannot say anything to anybody. Because if you do, we will know, and we are not going to be able to give you your gold back because you have compromised our investigation. So part of that is like a gag order that they place over this case. So if you end up feeling like you're in the throes of this, you feel like you got this call the other day, they told you there was a gag order on this investigation, you can't tell anybody, you've already transferred money, or you're about to hit the send button on a wire, call up a family member or friend and just tell them a story. Tell them a story that you heard somebody that you know got a phone call and they were told to transfer their assets into gold bars. Don't have to say your name is, the person that got your friend got the phone call. And your friend broke the gag order and told you about this phone call that they received. And let your friend tell you whether or not that sounds like a good idea to go through. Does it sound legitimate? Does it sound real? Does it sound like the government, the IRS, the FTC, Montgomery County Police, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, any other police agency, would they tell you to turn your assets into gold? And would they then come pick them up? Tell the story and see what the answer is at the end of the story.
Well, they're probably going to get kind of what we started out as, come on, man, right?
Very much so.
And that's what we need to hear. Because again, sometimes, when it comes to money, you get the Ralph Crandon thing, you're like, oh, okay, or you want to protect that hoard. Because I got to tell you, we talk about, violent crimes. We talk, we were just talking about our cold case in a very tragic case where someone lost their life.
Yeah.
Cases like this are just as tragic because it leaves just a trail of destruction. Because
it does.
I got to imagine all these victims that haven't gotten their money back. That's the money that was going to take care of them until they're 75, 80, 90.
Correct.
Or they were going to pass generational wealth on to their children.
Yep.
And it's gone.
And that was part of this last case where we did make an arrest. That particular victim had set aside some money for, I believe it was their niece. Unfortunately, that money is gone. And her niece is not going to be able to receive that lump sum of money. But yeah, a lot of this money is people's life savings. It is from their retirement funds. And if they end up, withdrawing a lump sum of money early, they end up having to pay taxes on it, and it becomes a whole host of additional issues outside of just losing the money. They still have bills to pay. Yeah. They still have lives to live, and now they are out a bulk of money, and it is extremely unfortunate. And we do the best we can in trying to recover money for victims. Our unit has been successful in recovering funds from victims from scams, but it doesn't happen in every case. So the cases that we get where we can seize money, recover money, get money back, we absolutely hop on those opportunities to get it.
Yeah.
I know our office this year has recovered quite a bit of money for victims, but it's still not enough compared to what people are losing.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So much for being here. Thank you for the work that you do.
You're welcome.
Like the chief said, I know that, these are not always crimes that we hear about in the media, and these are devastating to families. So thank you for that work.
Thank you.
So thank you for staying tuned. We look forward to seeing you next episode. Stay connected. Stay safe.